Being joined by Jason Greenblatt, who's a former chief legal officer to Donald Trump and his advisor in Israel. Welcome to the broadcast, sir.
Having me.
Mr. Greenblatt, let's start with this. To begin with, what is your assessment of the talks between Benjamin Netanyahu and President Joe Biden? What does the green signal here implicate?
Well, first of all, I don't think Israel needs a green signal from the White House. I do think President Biden has been very strong in his condemnation of the attack and telling Israel that he and the United States will do anything and everything they need to do for Israel. I hope that he will carry that out. But Israel does need to do whatever it needs to do. They were invaded by terrorists, by nearly 1,000 terrorists who broke through a fence, who came in through hand gliders, who went apartment to apartment, killing mothers and fathers and grandparents and children, killing concert goers, all civilians, grabbing them, bringing them back. They killed about 900 people at the latest count. By the way, I take issue with how you started the story. You counted the number of Israelis and Palestinians dead. Well, the Israelis were all attacked by terrorists, by Hamas terrorists, by Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The Palestinians who died were either the terrorists themselves or deaths because Israel is now retaliating for this atrocious, atrocious attack. But I think the United States, as well as many other countries around the world, are standing by Israel. They understand the gravity of the situation, the barbaric and horrible and vicious attacks. And I think that Israel will need to do what it needs to do to protect its civilians. That's what any government must do.
All right, sir. That being said, Hamas has threatened to kill hostages if Israel bombs Gaza without prior warning. Several of the hostages are foreign nationals as well from several nations. Talk to us about this. How do you think this will change the course of the war?
I'm not sure that it can. I think it's an extraordinarily challenging and difficult situation for Israel. I think you can't negotiate with animals, with barbaric people who do this. Israel will try to be careful. They'll try to save every single one of those hostages, but we all know the reality. The reality is they've already separated those hostages. They've hidden them away. It's an impossible situation, and the demands that Hamas is going to ask of them are going to be unrealistic. Israel can't sit idly by and let Hamas continue to attack them. Even today, there were more attacks. So while Israel will do whatever it can to save the hostages and spare them and hopefully rescue them, perhaps even with the help of the United States, they just can't not defend themselves. No country would do that.
Mr. Greenblatt, Hamas said that the group is open to discussions over a possible truce with Israel, having achieved its targets. So I just wanted to take your thoughts on this. What do you think Hamas has achieved with this entire operation? And also, is there truce anywhere on the cards in the near future or in the far future?
I can't see how a truce helps anything. There's always been this sort of back and forth where Hamas fires some rockets, Israel attacks, and things get quiet for a period of time. But this is the first time Hamas successfully invaded Israel, killed 1,000 people. Let's think about that. In the United States, that would probably be worth the equivalent of about 40,000 people, given Israel's population size. How do you have a truce with people who are terrorists, with people who are savages? You cannot have a truce like that. Israel has to go in and clean up the terrorist infrastructure so they don't face this again, so Hamas and other terrorists don't ever think about doing this again. What would India do if they were attacked by a neighbor like this? Would they accept the attack and the deaths and the kidnapped civilians?
Well,
and then just say, okay, let's have
India, of course, India has guarded its borders, definitely, but I understand what you're trying to say regarding the Israeli sentiment. So as far as the truce is concerned, definitely, as you're saying, it won't help either way.
Correct.
Mr. Greenblatt, thank you so much for joining us on World DNA with your perspective on this. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.